Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. This is going to be such a fun video and I'm really going to enjoy this. I always talk about this in my videos, but I've written 4 books, you guys, and in this video I'm going to dive a little deeper into that. I want you guys to get to know the author side of me. All right, so if you enjoy literature, if you enjoy the arts, if you enjoy poetry, and it's all still about uplifting our emotional maturity, getting these pearls of wisdom, then welcome to today's video. I thought it would be so fun to do this on a Friday, you guys. So let's hop into this. All right. This is just so amazing to me. Like, this part of myself, I'm just so proud of it, because my books, when I touch them and feel them, it's like all my energy. It really is, you guys. I wrote every word. I designed these books, the layouts. I put the numbers on the page. I chose the fonts. I did the editing, edit these books about 20 plus times each. Okay, so it's like a lot of hard work went into getting the finished product, and it's just amazing to me, and it's actually very sentimental to me as well. I found out around the time that I was writing my second book that my mom always wanted to write a book. And for those of you who don't know, my mom passed away when I was 7 years old. And when we get to the beauty of the eye, I might read my open letter poem that kind of like goes through what I went through at that time in my life. I'm thinking about it. But either way, I'm just so excited, you guys, to do this. So what I did was I hand selected some the parts of each of the books that I wanted to share, and I do already have a playlist of excerpts of my books, so you're actually welcome to check that out too as well, or but this is just awesome. Very awesome. But either way, you guys, this is my first book, which is my baby. This is my baby. When I wrote this book, you guys, I had no idea that it was going to be a book, first and foremost. I was healing from narcissistic abuse, and I needed an outlet. And I was in a period in my life where God had me isolated, and He will separate you. And you hear that meme, separation is required to be, promoted. Yeah, He'll isolate you because He's cleaning house, and certain things you can't take with you, and He's dealing with you and working with you on these things. But I wrote this book in the wee hours. I'm talking about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, when I couldn't sleep and I had all this restless energy. I would get up, and I found that journaling really helped me, and writing my feelings out really helped me. And that created this book. And this is why I always tell you guys to read the books in order. And this book was the book that I wrote while I was fresh off of the final discard, you guys. All right, hold on one second. And this book is called The X Factor Poetry Edition, Volume 1. And I'm going to read the subtitle here. The end of a relationship is the beginning of a better relationship with yourself. Illuminate. All right. And I had to put this yellow flower on it because, to me, illumination, like if words have colors, illumination is like a bright yellow to me. All right, and that's why I have this. This yellow flower is bursting and blooming with the darkness behind it. So, this was all very symbolic, all of it. All right, and I'm going to read the back here because it's going to give you a great, indication, of course, of what's going to be found inside of the book. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you guys. Get over that breakup and break through. Break through your hurt, pain, confusion, denial, anger, resentment, and or any other emotions you may be encountering. Save some calories and cuddle up with this book instead of a bowl of ice cream. Or for a rough breakup, you might need both. Okay. Take a journey through breakup land and see that your breakup is not the end of the world. And in fact, that breakup is a momentum. Momentum pushing you forward in life. Momentum to help you grow as a person. All you are really doing is breaking up with people, places, and things that do not serve you any further on your journey towards your best version. Enjoy this therapeutic, one-of-a-kind poetry book that is 2 books in one. The first half of the book is filled with intriguing, raw poems speaking on relationship matters and the unhealthy situations we end up in. The second half of the book dissects each poem and is loaded with relationship advice. So dry your tears. The X Factor Poetry Edition is here to revolutionize the post-breakup process. Let's celebrate our breakups rather than mourn them. This book encourages you to continue to let your light shine and allow no one to dim it. Illuminate through it all, shall we? And then I say my name, Lakia Crawford. So you guys, I love writing. It's one of my gifts, another gift and a talent that God has blessed me with. And this is just so amazing to me because, you know, everything is energy and this energy will be here forever. You know, it's something that I could leave behind that will always be here. And that's just amazing to me. So this is a wonderful, excellent book for all survivors to read. You're going to see yourself in more than one of these poems for sure, honey. But like I said, not only do I write the poems, I go back in and break them down. So that's pretty cool because usually when we get a poetry book or something, we let things be abstract. Everyone reads it and they take what they can from it. And you can still do that as well because you might read it and you'll take what I took from it and it'll be speaking something else to you. It's similarly when we go back and read the Bible, sometimes we'll read the same verse and like, wow, the first time I read it, that didn't dawn on me. This time I read it, this dawned on me. And it's like speaking to you as needed. Like you might read this book several times and it could be years in between. And it's like, man, the second time I sat down and read it, so much more dawned on me because we're growing and evolving and we're expanding our minds, okay? With that being said, you guys, I want to go ahead. I picked out 5 poems in this book that I want to share in this video. All right, and it was hard actually because there's so many poems. I believe there's about over 70 in here. So you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot. And for all of you who are interested, these books are available on Amazon.com and Barnes & Nobles. You can get the ebook or the hard copy. And they're also available through my website if you want signed copies. And for anyone who's ever got my signed copy, comment below and tell me how dope that was. I have the beautiful thank you cards, the beautiful ribbons, and a personalized note that I send off. And it's just amazing. And it's just putting that much more of my energy into there. All right, because I always appreciate those who support me, but you're definitely not doing it in vain here. All right. So let's go ahead with the first piece of work here. So the first poem that I'm going to be sharing out of the X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 1 is called Seasons. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. All right. Even the earth recognizes seasons. Everything runs a cycle, but she ran in circles. filled with deep-rooted patterns of self-destructive behaviors, never taking a season to recollect, a season to gather her journey to date, to analyze and grow from it. Instead, she found reason to stay in the cycle of chasing, replacing, and never facing her paradigm. And her pursuit becomes more elusive and out of grasp. For what is gripped is everything she longs to lose and nothing she wants to gain. Sitting still seems to be too great a challenge, the emotions too great, the regrets too many, the sorrow too deep, the feelings of loneliness too strong. No one wants to simmer in the pot of stew. It's hot and it cooks you, but the simmer is necessary for all the ingredients to come together. For once it is ready, the heat is turned off, the season changes, and the harvest is now ready. You may eat. Yes, so there is a lot going on in this poem right here in Seasons. And I'm hoping that you guys are just able to take that before I even go to my breakdown in the book. But yeah, this person is running in circles and, they're not taking their lessons with them, and therefore they're repeating it. And they're wanting certain things, but they're not doing the necessary thing that is going to help them get there. All right. So that their season could actually change. Now I'm going to go to the back here to break this down. And that's 113. All right. So let me see how long this part is. All right. I'm going to do the breakdown of this one. This poem speaks about a woman that jumps from relationship to relationship, not taking the time to recollect in between. She's in addictive mode, or basically she's addictive to relationships. And never even dawns on her to consider her readiness for the relationship. It never occurs to her to consider perhaps it's not even her time to be in a relationship, that her energy and focus should be elsewhere. She is caught in a vicious cycle of dating, things not working out, that relationship ending, and jumping right into another one. All the faces continue to change in her relationship but hers. She is the common denominator in all these attempts, but this escapes her. The thought that perhaps there is something within her that needs to be examined isn't in the forefront of her mind, and if she is aware of the examination, she is clearly running from it. She doesn't want to sit still long enough to do the work, to self-reflect, to feel, to gather herself. Perhaps she is in denial, or the pain is too deep-rooted and great to revisit, leading her to a numb existence. In these instances, I wonder if she even knows and like herself, being as though she runs from spending time with herself, always looking to be coupled with another. One could assume that being single, the thought of solitude is not fulfilling in the eyes of this woman, but you would think that felt relationship after felt relationship would be even more unfulfilling. It's not because she welcomes the distractions. It's better in her mind than getting in touch with herself. She is making the same mistakes within the relationships as they are all failing. She is not learning and applying, therefore not becoming a better partner. Although they have different faces, sometimes we keep attracting the same kinds of people over and over because we stay in the same place unchanged, repeating the same mistakes. She is willing to put constant energy into starting over and getting to know a new person, but she doesn't put any kind of effort into herself. Her self-love and self-esteem is therefore questionable, as she appears to be medicating herself with these failed relationships and dysfunctional cycles, but the medicine is not the right prescription. It's unhealthy and counterproductive to what she is actually seeking. Her emptiness remains, but she is unwilling to try another way. Her breakthrough would be to do the work, to become aware and in tune, aware of her patterns, how they do not serve her, and in tune with herself internally. Being in tune would give her better direction and knowing when she needs to embrace her singleness and when she has met the one for her. Her whole approach in dating needs to be altered. She needs to become most comfortable in being alone without feeling lonely. She needs to take time evaluating on so many levels, evaluating her true motives, her true feelings, how she got to this point, what she's learned from her failed relationships, and her role in each one. I'd even suggest her specifically evaluating her whole life starting from her childhood. Do both or one of her parents not give her the love and security she desired? Was her childhood happy, sad, or somewhat in between? Was she traumatized by any events in her life? If so, how does that affect her now? Does she believe she's happy in her current life? How does she perceive her self-worth and self-esteem? What is she striving for, and is her current behaviors leading her there? These are some great questions for her to start answering. In a nutshell, doing the same things over and over and expecting a different outcome is insanity. Albert Einstein said that. And we can run from ourselves all we want, but it's an impossible race that will never end. Rather than exhaust oneself through avoidance, you might as well roll up your sleeves and do the work so that you may progress in every way, leading you to your best path. And then after each section of me breaking down the poem, I put a meme, if you will. And this one says, we have to look at our reflection before we can change it. So that is just one poem, you guys. That's one poem, one breakdown of a poem, and your pearl, another pearl of wisdom with a meme. So I've done this, you guys, for every poem that I wrote in this book. You want to do this, and it's great now, especially with the holiday seasons. At least this is the first time when I'm making this here in mid-November. It's a great gift for your daughters, for you, your nieces, and any girl's rite of passage. She is going to be ahead of the game, okay? Ahead of the game. All right, you guys, so let's get into the second poem, all right? From the X Factor Poetry Edition, Volume 1. All right, so the second poem that I'm going to share with you guys is called Watered Down. All right, so let's get to it. Can you add more sugar to that Kool-Aid? It tastes so watered down. When you short it of the proper amount, it even leaves a bitter taste. Sometimes sour. Even if we're running low on sugar, don't skimp on the ingredients. I'd rather use up the rest of the sugar than have this bad batch presented to me. I actually like more sugar than it calls for. It's something even sweeter, even more quenching to have. More sugar than needed. It's comforting and definitely satisfying to me. So let the pitcher overflow. I want it all. Nothing less will do. So take me on a real date and not just to your couch for cable. Pick me up with flowers in hand. Don't just park on my block to chill at my place. Make me your woman, not your wifey or boo thing. Tell me I'm beautiful, not just sexy. Get to the nucleus, not just the outer surface. I don't want it watered down. I like it concentrated. Oh, bang. Didn't that sound coming in the net? Hold on, you guys. I have like all these notifications coming all the time. It's a blessing. But I had to like mute that a little bit for right now. All right, so watered down. You know, this is a person that's tired of somebody half-stepping with her. Don't give me a piece of you. Don't feed me crumbs. Don't be holding back from me. You're going to give me it all. You ain't going to give me nothing, basically. Okay? This is somebody that knows what they want. They're tired of not having the real deal, and they're ready to start commanding that. Okay? Can anybody resonate with that? Shoot, put some sugar in my Kool-Aid. Have you ever had Kool-Aid without sugar in it? You don't want that. Definitely bitter. Okay? And you ever had Kool-Aid with extra sugar in it? Nice and cold? I haven't made that in so long, you guys. I'm about ready to have some soon. I got to put that on my grocery list. It's nice to have. Maybe I have me like one of them Big Mama Sunday dinners. And make it with some Kool-Aid, honey. I like the tropical kind. Fruit punch, of course, grape, orange. I like pretty much all of them. As long as it got the right amount of sugar. Okay? So let's go to the next poem, you guys. It's on page 60. And it's called Me Too. TWO. All right. So let's get into that. He wasn't ready, but neither was I. My heart was still closed, still healing from its last tear, and all the tears that occurred before that. I was a hostage to my past, unable to be present, to truly move forward. I just wanted a warm body, something for the outside, good company for my carnal desires, for my flesh, for conversations, some laughs, someone to kiss, a dancing partner I could tango with and get tangled with, and distracted. A distraction from my real heart in its true state. A distraction from my brokenness and the undone work to begin to heal it. A distraction from my reality. Keep the pill. I don't want to leave the matrix. We can pretend, deny, dismiss the truth until we can't. You're my rebound, and I'm yours. Sure, we both say we are ready to love, ready to commit, and it sounds and looks so convincing. But we both draw our lines, and silently, we both can hear our inner screams. Our subconscious intuitively drew us together in the crowd. You know my language, and I know yours. It's comfortable. It's safe. We're kindred spirits for now. So Me Too is about two emotionally unavailable people, two commitment phobes, And, you know, the woman realizes this about herself. She knows he's a place filler. She knows her heart ain't ready. She knows she's not really over. Sometimes to get over another person, we use another person. So she's getting lost in the illusions and the carnal flesh and feelings that can be distractions from someone who's hurting and still trying to mend their heart. So she's acknowledging this aspect of herself, and she's okay with that. And she's willing to ride it till the wheels fall off, okay? Because she said, you know, we can deny it until we can't. All right. So in the back of the book, when I talk about this poem, you know, obviously I'm breaking it down and explaining that, but then I also give the solutions, just like I gave when we were doing seasons. So it's the passage where I'm breaking this poem down, my intentions of writing it. And of course, you know, spirit is spirit and we're all vessels. So when you read it, it could say something else to you in addition to, you know, and that's the beauty of it. So I'm breaking it down, but I'll give the solution as well. So obviously she's running from her healing process. She's delaying it. And that's allowing her to settle in her relationships right now. So, you know, obviously she needs to face herself, be vulnerable with herself, and be bare in front of the mirror and work on these aspects of herself. Okay? And that's basically what Me Too is telling you in a nutshell. Well, that's the solution. But what it's telling you is what we already described before the solution. Okay? So that's the great thing about the format of this book. We have fun with the poetry, you know, describing our shadow sides. Okay? But then we can break it down and look at the solutions to it as well. Because we're not going to stay there forever. So the next poem that I'm going to share with you guys on page 69 is called Romanticize. So let's go ahead and get into that. Sometimes I still mourn in the middle of the night and in the wee hours of the morning when I'm in the abyss of my deepest thoughts with no distractions around. I mourn. I mourn what I wanted things to be. I mourn what I thought I deserved. I mourn what it ended up being. I mourn the reality of it. The hurt, the pain, the lies, the games. They still sting my heart with the stench of bitterness in my soul. But there was sweetness as well. It was so sweet, many moments of sweetness. I thought I seen into his soul, and he had seen into mine. I thought it was real. How could something so sweet end up being so poisonous? Why wasn't the sweetness enough for him? Why wasn't I enough for him? Well, it's simple. It wasn't meant. I'm not his, and he isn't mine. It wasn't either of our time to find love, especially within one another. The universe says so, and the universe always has the final say. So here we have a woman that's romanticizing about the love bomb or the good times of her relationship. And she's like, how could it be like that and then end up like the devalue and the discard, basically? How could it fall apart like that? And why wasn't the love bomb real? Why couldn't that have been enough to carry us? Why didn't he just stay there? Why wouldn't he want to stay there? And why wouldn't he want to stay there with me? You know, a lot of times after toxic relationships, when we're already shaking on ourselves, we question ourselves and we question our self-worth and why we weren't good enough. And all along, the question is, they weren't good enough, you know? So this person needs to definitely plant themselves into reality and stay there, though, because she sees some of the reality here, the hurt, the pain, the lies, the games. It still stings my heart. But just like that, she gets carried away with romanticizing the sweetness of the relationship. And that can definitely make us more susceptible to going back, because it sounds like, it's not out of her system. And she still has some hope in there. This person really cared about that other person. So obviously the course of action here is going to be to put ourselves in the truth and stay there. When we romanticize, it allows us to stretch the truth, to create a new truth even. And that can be very dangerous. All right. So the fifth and final poem, you guys, that I want to share about this book, the X Factor Poetry Edition, Volume 1, is going to be a poem called Forever. Get your tissues out, ladies, because this is a sweet one right here. This isn't about heartache. This one is actually about finding love. Again. All right. So in the midst of, going through that breakup and feeling the feelings that we're feeling, love is there's still hope. This person has not let go of all their hope to having love. All right. So let's read this one, called Forever. She was dragged through the mud by her naiveness and brokenness and other people's brokenness. But today was different. All that was behind her now, and the hummingbirds surrounded her on a perfect sunny spring day. Her glass shoe had arrived, and it fit perfectly. And finally, it was her time. Her husband had arrived, and he was truly hers, and she was truly his. Not territorially, but spiritually and lovingly. The rain fell at the altar as their journeys to one another was not without bumps and bruises. But the rain was warm on this spring day, and in the midst of each other, the mud of the past was washed away. And there was no more open wounds, only open hearts, ready to embrace one another forevermore, as they both say, I do. So this person still has hope, and they're just thinking about when that day finally comes and how beautiful that's going to be and how wonderful it is. Now, I want to share with you guys that warm rain are tears of joy. Okay, so when I wrote about the warm rain, I was figuratively talking about tears of joy. People cry out of happiness, not just out of pain, honey. And this person has gotten there, So we can look at it a couple ways. The person has gotten there, but for the scope of this book, getting over a breakup, this is more so a person that sees this coming one day. They still this just happened to me, but that's going to happen to me too. Okay? And her time will come, just like your time will come, if it hasn't already. But I thought that was just such a beautiful poem, you guys. What are you thinking about the X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 1? Let me know down there. And remember, these books, all of them, can be purchased at Amazon.com and Barnes & Nobles. The ebook will get it right at your fingertip. But to me, it's just something about actually holding a book in my hands and flipping the pages and smelling that library smell. So it's just something about having that tangible book. So you can definitely get the hard copies off of Amazon and Barnes and Nobles as well. And signed copies you can get from my website. And I'll always send them off with my special touch. All right, so this is the X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 1, you guys. And I hope that you enjoyed, a sneak peek into this book. I hope you enjoyed that. It's very, very sentimental to me, you guys, these books that I wrote. Especially this first one. The first two, actually. Both of these books I wrote when I was homeless. I was in a homeless shelter when I wrote these books. Your girl was in a homeless shelter when she wrote these books. So it was very therapeutic for me. And it just represents a time in my life where I chose not to give up on myself. And I kept fighting for myself, and God wasn't finished with me. Okay. And I was in the homeless shelter due to my emotional maturity, my naivety, and narcissistic abuse. All of it together. 2 narcissists at that time in my life. One in my romantic life and one in my family. So, God wasn't done with me. And look at the beauty that can come out of our darkest moments. So when I look at this book and my second book that I'm about to get into now, it just, it grounds me and it reminds me. And, that's why I say none of it is in vain. None of the things that you go through. So I'm really proud of this, that I was able to still do this. Okay. God works in mysterious ways, you guys. And I seen an opportunity and I took it. Because before that, I had been working a 9 to 5 and I was a single mom with 4 kids. And I was always working, and I thought about writing a book one day, but it seemed like I never had the time. But when the opportunity presented itself to me, it wasn't in a way that I imagined it would be, but it was my time. I was, what was I? I was like 7 months pregnant with twins. And, God told me to have several seats. I worked my 9 to 5 up to 7 months with the twins. And then I worked doing Uber until like a week before I had them. And I carried them to full term, you guys. I carried them to 37 weeks, 2 twin baby girls. And they were healthy as can be. Both of them over 5 pounds. Okay, your girl did that and had the C-section. Yes, I was Ubering people, taking people to the airport, lifting their suitcases in the bag with a big old belly with twins on the way, because I was doing whatever I had to do to take care of me and mine and to prepare for my babies. And that's how I know when I made it through that situation, I could make it through anything, you guys. And I'm here today. Definitely on my feet. And, we got to live to see another day. And I said that in the video the other day. We had to push through. All right. But I don't want to digress too much. I made this video, you guys, so that we can get closer to one another. I do want you to understand me more. And, see where I'm coming from and why is this lady making all these videos? What does she write these books for? This is why, you guys. This is why. So again, this is very sentimental to me and very special to me to hold in my hands. And I'm really proud of myself for doing this. It's awesome. All right, you guys. Let's go ahead on to the second book now. The X Factor Poetry Edition, Volume 2. Let's read the subtitle. Now that you have left that toxic relationship, let's feel, reveal, and heal, honey. Okay? So X Factor Volume 1, we are thinking about the shadow sides of the relationship, the external relationship. In X Factor Volume 2, we are thinking about the internal relationship with ourselves. So now this person, you know, the breakup has occurred and it's forcing them, or at least they're taking the opportunity to look themselves in the mirror to what? Feel, reveal, and heal. So we're doing shadow work in this book. So it starts out pretty dark. And then as the book progresses, it gets lighter as the person is doing more and more work. And you will start to see that as the poems progress. All right. So let's get into the selections of poems that I have in this book. So this book is strictly poetry. The first one was breaking down things. This one is just strictly poetry. And then a lot of it is also help you with positivity. Like as the book goes through, you're going to see someone that's getting their self-confidence. So this is good for people who like to speak positivity in their life as well. You'll get some mantras out of this book as well. All right, they're sprinkled in there. All right, you guys, so let me get to the first poem here, because our words do have power. All right, this one is called Meant To. They were meant to. It was meant to. It needed to occur. Accept this. Know this. Feel this. And see this. It was all meant. Your devastations, your betrayals, your heartbreaks, your pains, your tears, all your experiences were meant. How else would you see? How else would you change? How else would you evolve? How else would you transcend? How else could your attention be had? And so it was meant to grab you by the neck, to feel its wrath, so that you could know it didn't serve you. The choke was out of love. The hate was out of love. The hurt was out of love. To bring you into love and away from non-love. Did it work? So, you know, I've made videos on this, and it's like that purge, that harsh experience. Like, well, why do I have to learn that way? Like, sheesh. But the poem talks about it. It's a process, and sometimes God's whisper has become a yell, you know, when we're further away from his voice. So, you know, in essence, this poem is just saying it was just all meant to. Don't worry about it. It was necessary for your evolution. Okay? So let's go on to the next poem on page 58 for those of you reading along with me. And this one is called Grieve. Once she realized and accepted they would never see it. They would never say it. They would never validate it. They will never acknowledge it. They will never apologize. They will never change. Now she can grieve it and move forward. It's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of times, you know, we want our abusers, we want our offenders, we want those who transgress against us to see their wrongs, you know. And sometimes we have to say, you know what, they're not going to see it. But it's okay. I'm the one who needed to see it so that I could change and make a shift in the people I allow around me, right? So now they can move forward. because they've let go of the needing them to be in the same place as them. Everyone's not evolved. We know the narcissist is not evolved, okay? So that was a good one there. Let's go to the next one I want to share out of here. And this one is called Embraced. I love this one, by the way. Embraced. I met a little girl. She was only 7 years old, but her eyes were much older. They didn't glisten like the other children. They were tired, lonely, and sad. I came over to her and asked her what was wrong, but she just stared back silently. I asked her again. This time I knelt down on my knees to be at eye level. I told her she was safe, that I would help her. But she still stared in silence at the dusty ground at the playground. Where are your parents? I asked her. Are you by yourself? Still, no reply. She just stared now, looking in my eyes, and I realized those eyes were familiar. They were mine. My current eyes inside of my 7-year-old body. I was 35, but I was still 7. My heart, my mind, my memory were stuck there. That little girl was me, and she needed a hug. She needed warmth, love, care, tenderness. She needed guidance, acceptance, and patience. She needed me to see her, to talk with her, tell her it was okay. She needed me to tell her I love her. She needed me to validate her feelings. She needed me to embrace her. So I did. And suddenly her eyes were bright again, and she ran off to get on the swings, skipping through the dusty grounds at the playground. Amazing. So, this is someone that's doing their shadow work on their inner child, basically. And once they told that inner child that the trauma that they had faced in their childhood, they found their healing with it. And it was released then. Beautiful, you guys. Let's go to the next poem. Poem number 4. This is short and sweet. It's called Own It. And here we go. In all they've done, you've done something too. In all they've done, you've done something too. This poem is about accountability, you guys, and it's about empowering ourselves to see our parts in a situation, what we contribute, because that's what we have control over moving forward as well. Okay? So we need to own it. So the 5th and final poem that I want to share out of here on page 160. A lot of poems in here, you guys. Getting closer. It's called My Reward. And this is another heart jerker. You guys got your tissues? Woo! All right. My reward. I've been initiated, and the gates are opening for me. I've left the world behind, and now eternity begins. I am face to face with my God, and we go over my earthly life. All the bumps, bruises, and growing pains. It all makes sense now. My eyes are completely open now. He says, "Well done, my servant." And I have never felt so peaceful in my life. My mother is there waiting for me. So is my grandmother. God, I never want to go back there. Keep me up here with you forever. Please. I pleaded out of desperation. No worries, my child. Your assignment is complete. You did what I asked and touched many people. You shared your flaws and gave others strength. You may take your place up here now. I am overwhelmed by His grace and mercy. I'm trying, you guys. I am humbled by His love for me. I bow down now in total submission. I know He is the Most High. Thank you, Father. Thank you. And the angels are celebrating a new arrival. I am now an angel too. You know, legacy is so important to me. And I know that I don't want to let my Father down. He's not waking me up every day for nothing. He has a plan for me. And I know I'm not perfect, but I try, you guys. I try to do what He wants me to do. So this poem, my reward, is, just having a life well lived. Not a perfect life, not a life without sin, not a life where I got everything right. But, I did my best from the love of a human being. And I get reunited with my mother, who passed away when I was 7. My grandmother passed away when I was starting college. So, and my Heavenly Father, of course, who's had so much mercy and grace over my life, you guys. It's amazing. This is a great book, you guys. Definitely a great book. I want to go ahead and read the back too, to give you that extra insight, because I didn't do that earlier. Welcome to the X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 2. Now that you have gotten out of that relationship that has not served you, come take a journey with others who have delivered themselves as well. You are not alone. You have chosen the path of exploration, the path of growth, the path of self-improvement, the path of self-love and self-respect. Congratulations. The X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 1 dissected the toxic relationships many people are currently in and provided explanations and solutions to how and why many relationships fall apart to begin with. But now, let's sort and allow those raw emotions and thoughts post-breakup to work its way from our subconscious to final external release. It's okay to feel, reveal, and heal. See the emotional spiral that tends to happen and the sadness one can experience and realizations occur. Get inspired to stay the path. Get validation of your feelings. Get knowledge of the potential within you. And get a glimpse of all the rewards awaiting your awakening. Be encouraged and envision that you can and will love again. And next time it will be right. It will be beautiful and it will be passionate. Okay? So let's get stronger with each day. Let's evolve and blossom as a beautiful lotus flower, emerging from a muddy place. We are now ready to heal and move forward. Enter the X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 2, shall we? And this is a lotus flower right here. So, you know, everything is intentional here. And we know lotus flowers grow from the mud. And if you didn't, now you do. And, you know, the muddy place is symbolic of that shadowy side and that hurt, that devastation and rejection, betrayal, all these things that that's the mud. Okay. And then here we are, the lotus flower, growing and blossoming from that. So this is another really great book, you guys. Of course, I do recommend it to you. And I'm glad that we could take a moment to, you know, do some excerpts from it. Tell me what you think about Volume 2 down in the description. All right. Whew, you guys got me. You know, I have emotions too. All right, so this one, oof, and I see the first poem that I have on the list from this book. Woo! So The Beauty of the Eye, baby. I love this cover. I just love it, you guys. So, a little makeup on there. The subtitle says, come on a poetic journey of experiences in the third eye world. Okay. And the other day, I'm trying to remember what video it was that I posted, and I shared my purple poem out of here, which was paying homage to Prince. All right. So I'm going to start off by reading the back of this book first. Let's talk about the moment when things click, the moment of realization, the moment when things become crystal clear, that moment when you mentally graduate into an illuminated level of consciousness, losing your old sight forever. Everything looks different and your perception shifts. You can step outside of yourself and watch your surroundings objectively, as if it were on a movie screen right before your eyes. Are you even still human? Or are you simply inside of a human body having a human experience? You are no longer of the world, but in the midst of it. We pay a price for this awakening, which brings us that much closer to our purest source. Is your third eye open? Come on a journey which poetically expresses just that. Experiences from the third eye world. Embrace your third eye and let it do the reading. Lakia Crawford. All right, so this book is for woke people, okay? Are you trying to get woke? All right, so of course in Volume 1, we realized what that shadow relationship was bringing us, and we got to the bottom of that. Volume 2, we got to the bottom of ourselves. Now, with the beauty of we're going to connect the dots with all of that and think about our external world. All right? So let's go through the poems, baby. All right, the first one is called Tantric Kiss. Tantric Kiss, honey. Whew. If you wasn't hot, you might get hot in a second. All right. Tantric Kiss. It was a slow churn, but more like a marinade, full of flavorful conversation, beautiful moonlight nights, savory dinners, dancing into dawn, and now we both wanted to. We wanted to breathe in each other more than we already had, deeper than we ever had with anyone else. We wanted oneness, pure synchronization. From the depths of our beings, I wanted to be him, and he wanted to be me, so that we could join completely as one. And so, I took his breath, and he took mine, into each other's bodies, over and over, as we gazed into each other's souls, jumping off the diving board and into a bottomless ocean in the tropics somewhere. I could smell his scent, and he smelled mine. It was so sweet, like fresh chilled pineapples, caramelizing inside my mouth. And it tastes so good, so we drew it out. There was no rush, and who would want to leave such a sweet place? We were there all night, elevating each other into our own unique oneness just created for us. One ball of energy immersed, creating a euphoria, tantalizing our human genitals to full arousal, our temperatures fully risen, and yet we never physically touched. It was all an organic construct, smooches. Ooh, Coach Lakia. I studied tantric sex. Yes, I did. You know, I just have a zest to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. But either way, you guys, now that I've stumbled, when you have a tantric kiss with someone, you're taking in their breath and you're not actually physically touching them. Something to look into for those who are interested in building the intimacy in non-physical ways. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next poem, you guys. We need to cool down some. Cool down some. This is called Superficially. The age of superficiality. Everything above the surface. What does it appear to be at first glance? And so it is. But what's lurking below is something you cannot see at first glance. Something that is the complete opposite than presented. Something that is devastating. Something that will turn on you. Something that is pretending. Something plotting your end, your demise, and seeking your despise. Ultimately, it will rise and rear its ugly face as the mask shatters into a million pieces upon the ground. You won't be able to put it back together again this time. For what was never was and never will be again. And the look in your eyes as you realize too late, it was never what it seemed. This is talking about the narcissist dropping his mask, honey. And when that happened, they ain't never putting that mask back on at times. And it'll never be like it was the first time. And that's why I say for what was, never was, and never will be again. Okay? So yes, superficial. That's definitely what the mask is, all right? And that goes for anyone that pretends to be something that they're not. All right, you guys. Let's go to the next poem, which is short and sweet. It's called Smile. The sun was always smiling back with its warm embrace. Today, I returned that favor. How can you wake up every day with that sun beaming down on you, warming you, keeping you alive, helping to keep you alive, right? And not smile and appreciate that? Just a question for those who don't. Okay. Let's go to the next poem. This one is called The Laugh. Ooh. You want to hear this one? And then I heard the laugh. It echoed through my eardrums, loud and clear, all its inclinations and annotations, and a chuckle to say, yeah, right. Who cares? A parting gift to store in my subconscious on my way out the door for forevermore, because they felt strong and mighty right then and there. They thought they had won the battle and the war, that the machine had crushed me to death and there was no resuscitation available, that I was at their mercy, but I wasn't. They were at mine, and everything they did to me, they had done to themselves. All the vile and ugliness bounced on them. It couldn't bounce on me like they wanted it to, because I wasn't the sender, nor could I be the receiver. And then their laugh turned into silent respect, silent memorization, silent hate, silent regretfulness, silent resentment. The laugh lost its sound. Excuse me, I stumbled a little bit. Long day. But yeah, this is, the narcissist. They get on there, they pump out their chest, and they think they got the last laugh. But no matter what they do, God is always in control. Remember that. And there's a difference between the first person who gets the first laugh and the one that gets the last one. Okay? All right, now, the other person knows how to finish, or the other person just knew how to start something. All right, let's go to the next one, which is the fifth poem already. Wow, we're getting through these ones. And this is called Kindly. I don't take too kindly to it, but why would I? Or should I? We are two different species on planet Earth crossing paths. No need to intermingle through our flesh or spirit. No need to even make eye contact. So you can keep your hellos and goodbyes. I'll keep my sight and my cries. It's better that way. This is someone that's acknowledging, you know what? I'm not like the narcissist. I don't want to be like the narcissist. I'm cool with that. You can go your way and I'll go mine. I'm cool with that. And let's keep it that way forever. Kindly. So I'm not going to do the open letter poem in here because I'm not, you guys aren't going to get me to cry twice in this. I'm not going to do that. Open letter is kind of like, it's talking about my life. And maybe I'll share that in a video all by itself. But yeah, when you purchase the book, you'll get to read that. All right, you guys. So those are the 3 books that I wanted to highlight in this video today. The X Factor Volume 1, The X Factor Volume 2, and The Beauty of the Eye. And I hope that you guys enjoyed doing this with me. Let me know down in the comment if you want to have, more times like this with me. All right. There is a 4th book that I wrote, Silent Tears. I'm not going to get into it too heavily here, but you've heard me mention it. And that's for those who have experienced sexual abuse. But I want to keep that book separate, give it its own video. Okay. But you can definitely find out more about that in the playlist that I've already generated through Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. They'll let you read the excerpts, and on my website, LakiaCrawford.com. All right, you guys, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And, like I said, these books are my babies. Like, if you want to learn about me, you'll read these books. because a lot of me inside of it. Okay. You just have to have your third eye open while you do it. You be like, ooh, I didn't know that about Coach Lakia. Girl. Not all of it's about me now. But I did draw a lot from my personal experiences, and you know, I use that. And that's what a lot of artists do. You know, they write music songs. They had a horrible breakup and they write a beautiful love ballad or a breakup ballad. Oh, you know, it happens. And, you know, that's what we could do. We can channel that energy and use it for something positive. And that's what I did here. And I hope that it's able to, you know, not only be entertaining to you, but enlighten you and bless your life as well as it blesses mine. You know, I pick it up and I read some of this stuff and I'm like, whoa, like God was really working through me. All right, you guys. So I wanted you guys to get to know me better as an author. And I'm so glad that I could do this today and, you know, put this out there. And hopefully you guys will appreciate that and you learned something new today. All right. If anything, you know, we got to spend some more time together and get to know each other better, right? All right, you guys, let me know your thoughts down. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's push this content out. Let's push this content out. Thank you guys for all your love and support. And until next time, continue to do the work. Never give up on yourself. And until next time, please take care.